pardon me, about this pen that was sent to me by Narwhal. This is the new Narwhal Schuylkill, but because that's not part of American vernacular, we're now going to call it the Schuylkill, right? Schuylkill is a river that runs through Philadelphia, where Narwhal is located, but it has Dutch origins, so Schuylkill. But anyway, this is a new finish, but there also are some modifications to this pen as to the I think what is now colloquially known as the Narwhal Original, like the original pen that Narwhal launched. I have reviewed that pen. I don't have it here. I'm not going to show it to you side by side, but you can look up that review. One outstanding new feature is an ink window, which I'll get to. So I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I will do a writing sample, and I will tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Let's get started. Narwhal, swimming with the dolphins. Narwhal, he's here to ride beautifully. Narwhal, Narwhal, Narwhal. No? Okay, this is the Narwhal Schuylkill. I'm opening the box. It's a nice box. I really like it. I like this color scheme. It's nice. It's a little subdued. I love it. Same colors on the side here. I really think that's neat. It does say Schuylkill Porpita Navy, and it does say medium. I'm opening the box, and then in the box is a user guide and warranty with filling instructions, which is quite nice. And then there is the actual pen, and there is this, and this is a fantastic addition. It is indeed a little wrench to open up the wow, the piston. Sorry, it's early, I haven't had a lot of caffeine yet, and I should probably do a disassembly line video on this pen. Okay, so let's talk about the parts of the pen. The finial is this nice gold dot. Oh, let me show this. Sorry, let me show you this side by side with a Metropolitan. The pictures are on the website, as you know, but just you know, here we go. Right. So fairly somewhat larger pen, somewhat longer. We have this nice gold finial in a ring. That seems to be a slight groove on top of the cap, which I kind of like. Here we have the clip. I like the clip. The clip is nice and springy, but tight enough to not be loose, which is great. I like the material. It's a nice material. It's quite pretty, and I like that the cap and the barrel and the section are that same material. But let's go down. First, here we have an ink window. This is a massive improvement, I think, over the original Narwhal model, because you can see how much ink you have left, and it's visible when you have capped the pen, which is very nice as well. Then we have the barrel, right? The barrel tapers down ever so slightly. Then you have this metal ring. Then you have the piston turning knob. We'll come back to the ring in likes and dislikes. These are custom-made resins, and the nib is made in-house at Narwhal. It is piston-filled, and it is $55. Schuylkill is a river running through Philadelphia, as I said, so there you have it. The cap unscrews, for those of you who want to know. 1, 2, about 2 1/4 turns. The section tapers down, flares out a little bit, and then you have that in-house made nib with the very cute Narwhal on it. There will be a close-up on the website. And then we have a plastic feed. The pen does post for those who like it, but it is quite big, and it becomes a little top heavy because it doesn't post very deeply. So I'll be using it unposted in our writing sample. I'm going to write without any pressure here for a reason. It's the medium, and the ink is Iroshizuku Konpeki. And I think this kind of lays bare the issue. The nib is incredibly dry, and it has been cleaned, it has been degreased, I've done all the things. So if I were to write with the light pressure that I typically use for a fountain pen, and I'll come back to this in likes and dislikes, then this is how it writes. Kompaki is lubricated ink, so you would expect a pretty wet flow. Now if I add some pressure, then indeed we have a nice medium nib, but I'm not going to finish the whole sentence, but as you can see, this is what I would expect from a medium nib. In other words, it's too dry. The tines are so close together that there is very little ink flow. Fast writing, with a bit of pressure here and there, it's definitely possible. Wetness, well, this is under no pressure. This is under some pressure, so as you can see, with a little bit of tuning, I think this nib would be nice and wet. Line variation, as always, very, very careful, but you can squeeze out some. And that, I think, is how it should be writing, which again you can do, but tuning a nib is not for everyone. So out of the box it is very, very dry. Reverse writing is possible, as you can see. Okay, let's have a chat. This again is with pressure. Let's have a chat about what I like about this pen and what I don't like about this pen. Alright, what do I like, what do I not like about the Schuylkill? I think there are a couple of things that are very much to like, and starting in maybe somewhat relative terms, but $55 for a piston-filled pen I think is really quite reasonably priced, especially if it's also a pretty material. I think that's very nice. Piston filled, large capacity, it holds well over 1 milliliter, which, as always, it doesn't sound like a lot, but imagine the average converter holds about 0.7 milliliters, so you definitely get a relatively larger capacity in ink. What I think is what I consider to be two of the main selling points of this pen are A, that it has an ink window, which the first model did not have, and therefore it was impossible to know how much ink was left on the first model unless you had a translucent material you can hold up to light. The second thing that I really like about this ink window is not only is there an ink window, but the ink window is visible when the pen is fully capped. So even when you just take the pen out of a pen case or a pen pouch or your pocket or whatever you use to carry your pens, you can immediately see how much ink is left in that pen. And I think that is a very good design improvement. The second thing that I really like a lot about the Narwhal Schuylkill, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to keep saying it that way, is that it comes with a little disassembly wrench. That is something I really missed in the first pen. The first model of Narwhal, many companies don't give you a wrench. I only know of TWSBI that provides a wrench. I once had a Chinese pen, and I'm blanking on the name right now, but that had I think a vacuumatic filling system, and that actually came with a wrench to disassemble it and maintain it. But beyond that, it's fairly uncommon. Of course, there's Konid, but with Konid you pay, you buy the set of tools to disassemble the pen. And this pen just comes with it, and it's a simple tool, but it does exactly what it's supposed to do, so I think that's fantastic. Especially with the piston filler, you might want to lubricate it once in a while, and that's just made superbly easy by the inclusion of the tool. Things I don't like so much, there are two things. The first point is that I did use the wrench and this metal ring came off, like it's loose. I cannot show you right now because there is ink in it, but there isn't that much to imagine. You unscrew the piston turning knob and this ring is just loose. It's just a loose piece and it looks like it should be glued in place, but I don't know if the glue came off. I will say in the pen's defense, we have had an Arctic, an Arctic vortex, a polar vortex in weather here. So when this was in the mail, it was below 30 degrees centigrade. So it is possible that glue, because I had another pen where glue seems to have come off. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. In any case, it's not a massive deal, because once the turning knob is tightened, that ring is secured. It doesn't move or rattle because it's held in place. I'm just saying. And that, as always, for me, this is a challenge because I only get one of these, so I don't know if this happens on all the models or if this was just this particular model where that ring happened to come off. In my mind, it's not a huge deal. Of course, something basically breaks. But given that it is held in place, I mean, if the clip fell off, that would be an issue. Given that this is held in place whenever the turning knob is tightened, honestly, in my mind, I'm not particularly worried about it. But I'm sure that some people would hate that. So just so you know, I'm explaining this to you. The second thing, and that is a bit of an issue I had, and that too, as always, the question is, but is this part of this particular pen, or is it the model in its entirety? The nib is described as being an in-house nib, which I think is fantastic. I think it's really, really cool that Narwhal is making their own nibs now. But the nib is very dry, to the point that without pressure, it writes almost illegible line. And that is more problematic in my mind. This is something you can fix yourself. You can do that, but not everybody is equally comfortable doing that. As always, the question is it just this pen, or is it all these pens, given that they make their nibs in-house? What I will say is that on the original Narwhal I had, the hippocampus finish, that pen wrote fine. It wasn't that dry. So I don't know if they already made their own nibs at that point. I simply don't know. But what I will say is that pen seemed to write fine. So I'm not particularly concerned. It's not that it doesn't write. It's just very dry. So that is something you may have to make up your mind on, whether or not that is an insurmountable obstacle to you. But there we are. A very kind thank you to Narwhal for sending me the pen. I really appreciate it. I would appreciate it if you have this model, if you would leave some comments below. Did your ring come off? Is the nib dry? Because I think it will be good for people to see that. And that's pretty much it. So I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye.